Hello. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming back. I appreciate it. If it's your first time joining me, then my name is Drew. You're you. And this is the Goulet Pen Company, where we sell fountain pen products and where we often have new fountain pen products. And this is where we often discuss said new fountain pen products, of which we have many. In fact, this week we're going to focus on ink. And so that means we're going to wait, because I'm going to actually use ink today. We are going to swab, we're going to play with some ink, and in case I am not great about keeping things clean when it comes to the old mitts, we're going to look at pens first so I don't mess up anything. And starting with, it's a bunch of pilots, and we're talking about the Kakuno. We've got several new Kakunose, Kakunai? I don't know. I'll let you figure that out. No answer is wrong. So this is a $14.30 pen. It is still a $14.30 pen, except we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I just hit my mic, sorry. 6 different iterations now, all in translucent resins. I'll show you some pictures, but most importantly, I'm going to show you some faces, because as we know, the Kakuno is famous for having faces on its nib. Sometimes it's this, sometimes it's this, sometimes it's this, and these are more. So we've got the aqua, which just has kind of a regular face on it. We've got the blue, which has a mustache and a necktie on it. We have got the green, which has a pacifier in its face. And then we've got the coral, which has some lovely eyelashes and a necklace. And we've got pink, which has some more eyelashes and a bow. So there we have those. No shortages of faces now for you to further connect with, identify with, and attach yourself to your writing instrument. So whichever Kakuno looks like you can just form a connection with, be like, hey, you're my pen. Now you can personify it even further and perhaps even name it. You know what? That's not a bad idea. I've never named a fountain pen before, but if I did, I would start with one of these. Sorry, I'm thinking about names. Okay, $14.30. They can take cartridge converter pens. In fact, the Kakuno can also take the large Con 70 converter, which Pilot sells. So that's a fun little fact there. So anyway, those are available now. Check them out. Moving on, a TWSBI. And yes, we are going to record this one. All right, it's an ALR, a TWSBI 580 ALR, which is similar to the 580, similar to the 580 AL, but it's not either of those things. It's the 580 ALR, which means that the grip section and some other parts of the pen are textured. So there we have it. It is black, y'all. I want to make sure that, okay, no, it's just called black. I thought maybe it had a different name because they sometimes do that, but no, it's just black. The black ALR, easy to remember. And there it is. It has a stunningly beautiful matte center band at the base of the cap, and then you'll find a matching black ring up at the tip where the finial is. And if you look closely, you'll be able to see that it is indeed textured with tiny, tiny little raised lines, not on the center band here, and not on this black portion here beneath the piston knob, but on this top area, and of course on the grip. So this is going to be the most prominent, most noticeable aspect of that texture, but it is so very fine that you may not even notice when you feel it. Like, you can feel it, but it's not bad. It's really not bad. If you are significantly averse to texture, yes, you will notice. You probably won't like it, but if you're just kind of bothered by it, this might not bother you because it's really not significant. But it looks so nice and just really complements everything well. With the AL and the ALR, you have aluminum, matching aluminum internal parts. So that's no exception here. You do have a black metallic, a black aluminum piston rod, a black aluminum piston rod assembly here, but you might not be able to tell because it is black and all of the plastic versions are black. So It's not super obvious here, but it is aluminum. You can tell by the type of grease they use, actually. With the aluminum TWSBIs, sorry about that focus, y'all, they use this white grease, which is bearing grease, which is different than the type of grease that they use on all of the other TWSBIs. Don't wipe this off. Leave it there. Don't touch it. It should be fine. More importantly, don't re-grease it using the grease that comes in here. This is not meant for that. You can use this for something else. I don't know. Does this even come with grease? Some of them do. It still comes with it. Yeah, okay. Don't know what they encourage you to use this for. Oh, sorry. Yes. You can use the grease for the piston, the actual gasket here, to lubricate it within the walls. Do not use it to lubricate the piston rod itself. It's not this white stuff. You want to leave that white stuff alone. That is good for aluminum parts. The clear stuff that it comes with, not good for aluminum parts. It'll lock it up. You will not be happy. I will also be sad on your behalf because I'm an empathetic person. So don't do that to me. Please. I won't be able to help myself. I will be sad, and I don't want to be sad. So don't make me sad. All right. That's enough of that. It's a TWSBI. It's lovely. And I'm really glad that they came out with a black aluminum version. I think it's sharp, and you do too. I can just tell. All right, moving on. All right, we're gonna talk about a sailor. This sailor is pretty unique in that it is not just a type of color that we're going to be looking at and finding beautiful today. It is a whole situation. Look at this. And by whole situation, I mean that I just don't have a better way to describe this printing. I believe it's screen printed, but it might not be. Either way, just look at it and we can determine for ourselves if it gets a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I know how I feel, and I feel thumbs uppy about it. You just think about it yourself. Oh, look at that. If you were on the fence, you're not on the fence anymore, are you? That is a lovely little cabochon set into the sparkly blue finial, which then is separated by a trim ring attached to the clip, going into a white, sparkly, very snowy looking cap and barrel covered in delightful little snowflake designs. And then again, to balance things out, we've got another bit of that blue, sparkly, translucent resin down there at the bottom and on the grip section as well. And finally, there we have some additional theming in the style of a snowflake adorning the nib. And it's got a little grease on there. Whoop. There we go. Beautiful. My goodness, look at that. This is a fun pen. And what are fountain pens if not meant for fun? And look, we've even got an appropriately themed knob on the back of our converter. And going along with the theming, we'll also have included in these boxes a free bottle of ink. Well, free, you're paying for it, I guess, but you get what I mean. It is included. It is called Ice Gray. To my knowledge, it's a unique color. They might have this somewhere else in their massive, massive library under a different name, but I'm led to believe that it is a unique color, so that will be included as well. All right. Oh, that pen, for anybody who's interested, is $280. It is a Pro Gear Slim. I didn't mention that. Sorry. Pro Gear Slim, $280. It is known as the first snow. Okay, the Visconti Medici Viola. It is a Medici, so it's got the internal double reservoir power filling system, which we spoke about recently in discussing the briarwood version that was made out of acrysilk. This one is made of resin, and it was made of resin here in the US. So this is a US exclusive in Jonathan Brooks resin of the Carolina Pen Company. It's quite lovely. It's got a lot of stunning depth to it, Jonathan being one of the best, if not arguably the best resin maker in the universe. All right, and then we've got a lovely Visconti bridge clip, as you're familiar with. And even more unique, you've got the lilies that surround the ink window of the double reservoir chamber there. The hook-safe lock mechanism is there, and then Visconti's 18-karat gold nib as well. So a very, very lovely pen. It is not cheap. It is $876, but again, these are going to be limited, and they are going to be geographically limited as well to the United States of America. It's a faceted design, which really helps to show off the shine and depth of this lovely resin. And again, it is the double reservoir power filling system. So submerge your pen, pull this out, push this in, boom, ink is up in your pen. Do that a couple times and you're ready to go. Great looking pen. Very good capping mechanism as well. This does seal very well because you've got a spring-loaded inner cap. All right, we are moving right along because I want to get into some ink today. It's going to be a different, special, and unique episode of What's New, and it's going to be inky. So that is it for the pens. From here on out, we are getting inky. And we're getting inky for good reason because we've got some great inks that have come out, and I want to share them with you. And I don't want to just talk about them. I want to actually show them. And we're going to start things off with Colorverse. Now, Colorverse did something pretty unique in that they came out with 4 inks that are kind of just one ink. So I'll tell you about that. So this ink is called Blue Dragon. It is a 2024 ink, and this is celebrating the Year of the Dragon, the Chinese New Year, Year of the Dragon. So there that is. These are kind of hard to get out, but you just kind of got to grab this tab and flip it out. All right, so this one right here is just Blue Dragon, and its variations are the same ink, which is a lovely, lovely blue teal with red sheen, except these variations have shimmer added. This one that we're looking at here does not. This is just Blue Dragon, so blue with red sheen. But then we've also got glistening blue Blue Dragon, glistening gold Blue Dragon, and glistening silver Blue Dragon. And we are going to look at what the differences are going to be here today with each other. So let's start off with a baseline and check out the standard Blue Dragon. I have got a dip pen here somewhere, or do I? Did I not bring that? Okay, I've got it. I've got my Kakamori dip nib here, and that's what we're going to be using for getting our Blue Dragon onto the page here. All right, let's take a look at this. So, that is Blue Dragon, everybody, and it will dry with some notable red sheen. So far, I have used this only on Tomoe River paper, so it's kind of like all I'm seeing is sheen. I'll show you my earlier writing samples here in a minute, but I'd like to try it here on this Rhodia paper to see exactly how it looks on, I guess more normal paper than Tomoe. Tomoe is great for showing off interesting properties, but sometimes the properties can be a little overwhelming. I think that with shimmer and sheen, they can look amazing on Tomoe River, but sometimes I want to see the base color as well. So we'll check it out. All right, here we've got Blue Dragon glistening silver now. So I'm giving that a good shake, making sure there's nothing here on the bottom. All right. And with this one, I don't have to clean my dip nib because I've already got the same ink on it, just without the shimmer. So here we go. Oh, a little too deep there. Okay. All right. All right, so we'll let that dry a little bit. And I did remember to bring a paper towel. And we'll see how that shows up. Already, you can definitely see that it has got some sheen and some shimmer there. So when it dries, you'll see that even more. But I'm curious to know whether you all will prefer the regular version, the silver version, the gold version, or the blue version. And I'm going to provide you with what you need to find out. And I just enjoy playing with inks as well. This is a very cool job, and I'm very fortunate to be able to do this with you. So thanks for hanging out with me. Glistening Gold is up next. And I will say, oh, here you go, look at all this stuff. My goodness. I will say that I have swabbed these earlier today for official purposes, for the website and stuff. And I think gold so far is my favorite. Although I really like Jacques Herbin Emerald of Chivor, and this might just be reminding me of that. So I might be a little biased. I don't know. We'll see. Let me clean this off. Let me shake this again because it's been sitting. I'll tell you, let's look how much settled in just that amount of time. It doesn't take long. These need to be constantly agitated, even when they're in your pen, especially when they're in the pen. Okay. All right. This is going to look good, I know. Yes. So this is going to look like Emerald of Chivor because like Emerald of Chivor, Blue Dragon has that teal look with the red sheen and gold shimmer. I mean, that is what Emerald of Chivor has. But this is going to have more gold. The Jacques Herbin inks, the 1670 inks, are shimmer inks, but the amount of shimmer that they put in them is probably less, probably the least amount of shimmer overall of any, compared to any other shimmer inks. You know, most of the brands, Diamine and others, they really load it up. Jacques Herbin, not really that. They're a little bit more conservative compared to the other brands. All right, finally, this one is the blue. So this one's probably the most unique. So Blue Dragon, Blue Shimmer, I can see that being appealing to folks. And I mean, it does look good. Maybe this one's my favorite, I don't know. I need to get Emerald of Chivor out of my head. I already have Emerald of Chivor. That's already an ink. I don't need another one of those. It works just fine. And I actually like the fact that it's got just a little bit of shimmer in it. It's there for me if I want a shimmer ink that doesn't have a lot. But when I want a lot, I do think about Colorverse, which by Starlight is kind of like the one I recommend the most if you want a ton of shimmer and a really cool color. But Blue Dragon is pretty awesome. So let's see how Blue Dragon Blue looks compared to its friends here. All right. Blue Dragon Blue. Blue on blue. Folks, what do we think? It'll show up more as it dries. Right now, I'm not seeing a ton. I guess the blue is kind of blending in a little bit. We'll give it a moment. What I'm going to do now is I will bring up my examples on Tomoe River paper that I did earlier today, and you can see just how much sheen, like kind of an obnoxious amount of sheen, shows up. All right, so here's glistening silver, and you can see, look at all that red. Like at a certain angle, this looks just like a bright red ink. It's crazy. So a big difference compared to the Rhodia paper we were just using. I mean, you definitely do see plenty of silver in there, but it's like almost drowned out by the amount of sheen. It's wild. Okay, and then here's the regular Blue Dragon. But again, at a certain angle, it's just red. Here we go, we got blue, and then red. Blue, red. So that's sheen. That is sheen for you. And if that is what you want, Blue Dragon is going to deliver. Moving on to gold here. So you got blue and then crazy gold sheen. It's basically gold and red. Bluish and then crazy gold and red. But it is a cool looking ink no matter what you want. If you want blue, you got it. If you want shimmer, you got it. If you want sheen, you got it. It's doing a whole lot. And then finally, glistening blue over here. Well, you know what? I will say that the blue is a little hidden. It still is, even on this one, which has been drying for hours. The blue is kind of dominated by the sheen in this case. You get a lot of reds, you get a lot of blues, but I'm not seeing a lot of shimmer. I mean, it's definitely there. It definitely exists, because I mean, here's the regular, there's nothing, and then here's the blue. It's definitely there, but not in the noticeable amounts that we've seen on the gold and silver. So let's take again now, see what this one looks like after it's dried. All right, okay, it's definitely showing up now. After it's dried a little bit, we're definitely seeing it show up. So I really do like that. And I will say, usually inks pop and they look just really, really good on Tomoe paper. But in this case, I prefer the way these inks look here on the Rhodia. It's just a little too much on Tomoe for me. It's just a little too, the sheen just dominates. And here, I think the sheen is definitely there. You get to see it. You've got that red outline, and that's what I want. And then you've got the sheen and shimmer here. You can still see that red, but then you've got shimmer going on as well. The gold, tons of shimmer. Oh, my goodness, look at that. And then the blue. All right, so that is Colorverse Blue Dragon. These are all going to be $15 for 15 mil, so $1 per milliliter. So I don't know if you like that ratio, then that's a selling point for you. But they are limited, so it is a 2024 thing. They're not going to be around forever. So jump on the dragon if you want to ride it. Next, we're going to talk about Wearingeul inks. So let me move these to the side and rinse off my dip pen. Wearingeul came out with a really cool collection, and then another ink that's not really a part of the collection, but we're going to focus on the collection first. So this is the Peter and Wendy collection. So it is a Peter Pan themed collection, starring Tinkerbell, starring Tick-Tock Croc, starring, of course, Wendy Darling, starring, not Frankenstein. Frankenstein comes later. He's not a part of this story. Peter Pan, obviously, and what would the world be like without Captain Hook? So we are going to check out all of these lovely and fun inks right now. So let's move on from the dragon here and journey to Neverland. Let's do Wendy first, because I've got some thoughts about Wendy. And I want to know your thoughts about Wendy. So first of all, let me talk about these bottles. These are cool looking bottles. Look here. Look here. They are lenticular designs. So you've got Wendy and Wendy. Wendy, 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 Wendy. How cool is that? I think that's neat. It's a gimmick, but it's a gimmick I'm here for. And I can't stop doing this. So great. Look at that. So Wendy has some shimmer going on. So this is a very light ink. Oh my goodness, that's pretty. Oh wow, that is quite lovely. Okay, Drew, focus. You've got to tell these people about this ink. Wendy is a very light ink, everybody. A very light color. So I want to know if it's too light or not. Here's the thing though. It is beautiful. It is a beautiful ink, but it is very light. Those are, I think, facts, but I want to know what you think. All right, Wendy. So it is very light, but it's pretty. I want to also put some down a little heavier here, because once it dries, it does produce some multi-tonal aspect. But as you can see, it does have some shimmer, but it is a very, very light ink. You'd almost have to use a broader stub or something like this, a large dip nib, when you write with Wendy. But it's a lovely ink, just very light, very light. But Wendy is here. She is a part of our crew. And there we go. And we're gonna move on to Tick-Tock Croc. And this is a green ink, not surprisingly. And there's the croc, boop, boop. And this has no shimmer. This is just a straight up green, but it's a very pretty green. All right. These inks all look better when they dry. I've swabbed these up, and by the time this goes up, I should have some more photos to show you as well of my other writing samples. But this one does have some good sheen to it when it dries, and you can see that it has good shading as well. So it's a nice, pretty green ink, and it's got enough going on that it's not plain by any means. Not in my opinion, anyway. So we'll let that dry as we move on to my favorite in this collection. The devious, terrible, monstrous Captain Hook. Here's another thing I need your help with. I really like the movie Hook, from the early 90s. So I really like Dustin Hoffman as Captain Hook, and I really like this ink, and I'm not sure if I like this ink because of the ink or because I'm thinking of Hook. So there he is. Well, he's quite happy in this rendition, but we all know that that is just a diabolical ruse. So I need to know, is this ink really, really cool? It's kind of like if you've ever eaten one thing or at one restaurant when you were really, really hungry and you're just like, oh my God, that's the best thing ever. But you haven't had it when you were just regular hungry. So like, was it really that good? Or I don't know. Let's just try it and find out. So here we go. Captain Hook. So it's a nice bright red, but it's dark enough. And in a big, big nib like this, it's going to look very bright red, but in a smaller nib, it's going to look a little bit darker. I just love it. The thing with this, and we'll come back to it, is that it does show up with some gold sheen on certain types of paper. I haven't used Rhodia yet, but we're going to see. Actually, you know what? I think I see a little bit showing up around that P already. We'll be back and check that out. I still think I like it a lot. I really do. I think I love Captain Hook. I'm going to ink up a pen with this. I do. I love it. I don't need your opinion anymore. I've decided. If you want to give it, then fine. If you want to say, yes, Drew, you're right, Captain Hook is amazing, feel free to agree with me. But if you have anything else to say, you just talk about one of the other ones, okay? Leave Captain Hook out of this. Positive words only for Captain Hook. Good form. Good form. Strike true. All right. If you're a fan of Hook, then I'm your friend. All right. And now we're down to Tinkerbell and Peter Pan. Let's go with Tinkerbell, because she's pretty much Peter Pan with pixie dust. And look, there it is. This is one half of Flight, y'all. You need this and Happy Thoughts, and you're good to go. All right, so we will give that some agitation, and then we will fly with Tinkerbell. Now, this is Tinkerbell, like first name Tinker, last name Bell. I always thought it was one word. Am I wrong about that? I haven't actually read any Peter Pan literature, so perhaps I just don't know what I'm talking about. Either way, we're going to jump right in. Okay. All right, so this is a lighter green, but it does have some gold shimmer in it and fun shading. So we'll take a look at Peter, and then we'll come back to that once it's dried and really analyze everything. All right, Peter. There he is, being mischievous with feathers. Why does he have more feathers? I don't know, maybe it's just replacing them with this hat. No shimmer in Peter. However, Peter does have a little bit of a brown sheen, I think, or at least he did on some of the paper that I used. We'll see. Come on, there we go. That's terrible R. What is that, Drew? Oh, God. Whatever. Oh, man, Drew. You're losing it. Losing it. All right, with Peter Pan and Tinkerbell, I just stopped knowing how to write, so forgive me for that. We will let that dry, and we will see what sort of shading Peter is giving us. But for now, let's return to Captain Hook to see if we can see any gold sheen here on Rhodia 80-gram paper. Unfortunately, I am not seeing it, everybody, which is a shame because I really, really liked the way it showed up on Tomoe River. But that's the way it goes. Luckily for me, there are more notebooks now available with Tomoe River than there had been in years past. So I will be doing that with my Captain Hook. It's still a lovely, lovely red. And let me just see if I can see it. Just no, the camera, my phone is picking it up realistically. So you might be able to see a little bit of it there. It might just be my brain. I think I'll see a little bit of it up at the top of the C, but it's definitely not prominent. And so I will say, if you want to see the gold sheen with Captain Hook, you'll need to use a low absorbency paper like Tomoe River. TikTok Croc, likewise, not seeing a lot of sheen there. Pretty basic. And then Wendy, still very, very weak. Wendy, sorry, I love you, but you're just not legible. But still pretty, just not legible. And then that failed Tinkerbell. Good Tinkerbell is a really unique green, and I haven't seen this shade of green with shimmer yet, so I actually really like Tinkerbell. And it has great shading too, so Tinkerbell I am a fan of, for sure. And there's Peter Pan, and Peter Pan's a good earthy green as well, good mossy green. And on Tomoe, you had some brown sheen, like a brown undertone, which you're not really getting on this paper. So I'll say that these inks definitely have more features, more superpowers on paper that absorbs ink much slower, like Tomoe River, probably like the Regalia paper from Endless that will also likely show off some of those features a little bit better than the Rhodia 80-gram. But I wanted to show this because this is a very common type of paper that you might have laying around. So I didn't want to go full show off here today, but now you have some context and some information that you can then use to go forth and consider some of these for purchases if you are still interested. And again, I'll have shown you some pictures of what these inks look like on Tomoe, since I did do that. And now we'll move on to one more ink. I know this has gone a little bit long. I knew I was going to go deep on these inks, but I want to show you Frankenstein. Frankenstein is not, surprise, surprise, a part of the Peter and Wendy collection. It's Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. So this one, I believe, is a successor to Dracula because they had that a while ago. And my goodness, y'all, take a look at that. Frankie is shiny. So we are going to give Frankenstein a good bit of agitation. I wanted to shake these so that everything gets mixed up, but I hate having a bunch of bubbles up at the top because I don't know how far to submerge my dip nib. Beautiful label, fun little design, or some colors on the Frankenstein lettering. And here we go. Oh, bubs. We got bubs. All right. It's all right. I can deal with bubs. It's not the end of the world. All right, Frank. If my writing is anything less than perfect, it's only because it's a weird angle for me with this phone stand in the way. It has nothing to do with laziness or incompetence. Definitely not. All right. This is a really cool ink. I really don't need to do any more than this. I will show you what it looks like on Tomoe River as I have with the other ones there. But I think this is going to be a popular one. It has a lot of fun shimmer here. So I believe it has blue shimmer or green shimmer. I think it's supposedly green. But I'm not actually seeing as much as I thought I would. But again, this is Rhodia. This isn't going to be knock your socks off paper when you're talking about sheen and shimmer, but it's realistic and it's one of the more common papers out there. So fun inks. That's all for today. Thank you so much for spending some time with me and allowing me the opportunity to have fun myself. I really do appreciate the time that you give me. And I don't take it for granted. Thank you so very much for watching. Thank you so much for the support of the Goulet Pen Company and for allowing us to do what we love so that we can help you do what you love. Thank you so much again. Have fun and write on.